look out for the fragments of silicon.
All right, welcome to another installment of the Fragments of Silicon Daylight Interviews. Joining us this week is Jose Castanheira. I hope I pronounced that right.
It's good enough. It's Castanheira in Portuguese.
Okay. Of Zark Attack.
Yeah, that's
How
easier.
are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. And you guys?
Surviving. I think everyone here is just recently awoken, so.
Oh.
Anyway, right. So how we like to get started is we like to get to know the people behind the studio, the game, and all of that business. And we do this by starting with this particular question. What got you interested in video games, both on a personal and a professional level?
Yeah, well, that's a hard question because I have to really search into my childhood and all that. But yeah, I'll say that well, I always got interested in video games since I saw like in TV and stuff like that, like commercials and all that. I wasn't lucky enough to have like a console until my first Game Boy Color, which was like 5 years after it came out. So it was already an old console. I think the Game Boy Advance was already out by that time. And yeah, it was a really good surprise on Christmas by my parents. And it's like the first time I had the opportunity to really play a console of my own. The other times I only had with friends at friends' houses or my cousin's house playing Sonic and Mega Drive and stuff like that. And I always gotten interested in that. But yeah, after Game Boy, it's pretty much like, yeah, just playing the games. And then I only bought the console after that, after I became like an adult and got my own money, because my parents never got me any other console. But I always had that thing with video games, and it also gave me like the interest of making levels for like Sonic and all that. And then I got into indie games, like even the Flash games on PC and all that. So I got from consoles to just playing on PC, then finding indie games. And yeah, it's pretty much the whole story. Then I started seeing like small creators doing stuff, and I wanted to do the same. And that's how I became like a game dev in that sense. So it's pretty much like from going to not be able to play games to like, yeah, I want to make my own. Pretty much that.
Like, okay, I mean, it's a fairly standard story.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, not good or bad. It's just, yeah, a lot of people who played games as a kid ended up wanting to make games later on in life.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, but I was lucky because I was also like, I always like to do art, to paint and draw, and I was also kind of like math. I didn't love it, but I was good at it. And then I figured out like what could be like the mix between the two, like art and science, and video games was kind of like the answer, like the cool answer, because it was cool at the same time, and it was like the same things that I like to do. So yeah, why not? And yeah, so it's a pretty standard story, but basically, I didn't get like I was lucky to be able to pursue it when I was still a kid. So it was not like something that came to me later in life. But yeah, I think that I had a lucky story with that. And yeah, it all came naturally, I think. So it's pretty much like just trying to do my own games, small games, investigating. I started using Game Maker and all that. So yeah, I was pretty much lucky to be able to start there early.
Indeed. As I understand it, your current project, Exophobia, is your first commercial one.
Yep, correct. Yeah, so even though I make games for a long while, it's like my first time just diving into the commercial part of it was at Exophobia. Maybe I was like not too scared, but like not confident enough to like make a full-fledged project. I only did like game jams. I don't know if you are aware of what the game jam is.
We are.
Yeah, okay. So I only did like small projects for game jams, like free stuff that once I finish the jam on the weekend, I'll just publish it online and people will play it. And I was happy with that, just like finding new ideas, new mechanics that I could explore and then call it a day and never touch that project ever again. But when I finished college, I was like, yeah, but now I want to do this for real. So I want to make a living out of it. So Exophobia was the project that I picked up from a game jam from before and started working on it and building on it.
I suppose that begs the question, was there anything in particular about Exophobia here that made you want to expand it?
Yeah, so it's kind of hard why I decided that. I'm still not sure, but Exophobia was kind of like a different kind of project because I never had made a 3D game before. So it was my first 3D game at the time. I only did like action projects, platformers, top down, stuff like that. But then Exophobia, I wanted to try what I could make with the 3D engine. I also used GameMaker, but trying to make an FPS, which was a genre that I never had made before. Like when I was making game jam games, I was exploring every kind of genre. Like what would my take be on this genre for like a platformer, a puzzle, like something like that for every genre. And Exophobia was for the FPS one, but it became like the aesthetic of it, like the reds and the blues that I picked up for the jam because like it was easier to make something fast with a limited color palette. I think it caught the attention of a lot of people. Like I could go on itch.io and see the stats and all that, and see that particular game had the most eyes on it. And I was like, yeah, maybe I should. This one would be like an easier sell, you know. so I picked that one, and then tried to build on it. Like the game jam game was very different, so I had to think like to rebuild the base of the game. So it became like a Metroidvania and an FPS at the same time. Added a lot of other changes like no ammunition, stuff like that. So yeah, trying to make a shooter that felt like something that I would do, like mixing all these arcade inspirations that I have, and yeah, take on it. So I thought it would be like a very it's kind of like the whole thing with the game is like it's nostalgic, but at the same time it tries to bring something new to the genre. So that's why I picked it up for my first commercial game.
I suppose that makes sense. Like, and how long ago did you start up this expanded version of Exophobia?
Yeah, so the game jam was in 2015, and then I started thinking of starting the project in 2018, but I only really picked it up at the end of 2019. So it's been like 4 years since I started working on it for real. And yeah, it's coming out next month. So yeah, I'm excited for that. 4 years seems like a lot for someone that was used to finish small games in a weekend. So it's still kind of crazy. It took so long. I look back and it's like such a simple game, but there's a lot of stuff that you never expect that a commercial game needs. Like it needs another level of polish, another level of quality of life that game jam games just don't have. Like you can just release a game full of bugs and all that, but yeah, if anyone is going to play it, it's free, so there's no problem with that. But if you really want to make a product that people will want to pay for it, there's 90% more work for that. I think. Oh, I think Adam left.
Might be having connection issues.
Yeah, he's had some difficulties before.
Okay, no problem.
So is the original version of the game still available?
I think so. I think I hid it somewhere, but I think you can find it.
Some devs, when they make the commercial version, they make the original jam demo go away. Some people put it in the game. You know, it really depends on the dev and what they want to do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, that was weird. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Right. So the gem version is like, I think I hid it, but it's not even called the same way. So I think it's hard to find it. So it's called the Red Planet, not Exophobia. But yeah, it's completely broken. You can't even finish it because it's full of bugs. so it's okay if you want to play it, then it's okay, but it's not nearly the same as experience as the full game.
Though, you know, as far as this taking a long time, not surprising given that, you know, it's a full 3D game. And I'm assuming you are a solo dev?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I always like that, like doing art and programming. Then with Game Maker, I could do both like easily. Programming in Game Maker is very easy. I actually learned to program there before actually going to college and learn computer science and code. Yeah, but I've always been doing games alone, and I think that's a goal of mine. Like, I never really seen myself as in a developer from a big studio or something like that. I just wanted to put out my ideas. And yeah, in Exophobia I did everything pretty much, but the music and the sound effects, which are two friends of mine, worked on that, and they also worked with me in some other Game Jam games, so I just already had a connection with them. And yeah, I think they captured the game feeling very well. But yeah, for the rest of it, yeah, it's all my work. So yeah, there was a lot of stuff that I was not aware, and it kind of makes sense that when you have an artist by your side or a programmer, and you're an artist, like you get like half the job. You need to do half the work. Like the more teammates you add, like full-time teammates, you just divide the work in that amount.
Yeah, usually how it goes. And how big is Exophobia in terms of like levels, episodes, any sort of, you know, progress indicator?
Yeah, I tried to do something different. Like, I didn't want to make like an early access game that you would unlock episodes in it. And since the game is kind of Metroidvania, I wanted to release like a full game. So the game will launch with everything in it. There won't be any updates or anything like that. It's just a premium game. Because like with Metroidvanias, I think it's not good to just come back to the game after a while. So you can just play it in like one go. The game itself is like a big map made of 4 different areas, and each biome is like has different enemies, different moods, ambience, boss fights. So the game itself, I would say, like takes like minimum 6 hours, 8 hours, something like that. Because it's also very easy to get lost in it, so it can take a little longer. But yeah, the game itself is kind of big in that sense that you progress not just by levels, but you have to backtrack, like in Metroidvania style, right? You get abilities, you backtrack, you come back and fight new enemies, bosses, and you just go exploring and find secrets along the way. So the progression is pretty much like that. You just don't need to wait for another chapter. All that. That's also one of the reasons why I think it took longer than we were used to. Like, you see other FPS games being announced, and then they release early access with a chapter or something. But yeah, I wanted to make sure I had the full game right on when it launches. So that's also a challenge, because you don't get as much feedback as if you do early access. So yeah, there's a lot of testing you need to do before to make sure like everything is okay when it comes out. I'm still not sure if everything is okay, so that's why I'm very anxious for the release day. But that's pretty much it.
Right. Well, in regards to other indie FPS games, like this is actually something that's quite different. Like the reason why we see a lot of those released in early access with like an episode is because that's kind of the tradition they're drawing from.
Used to be considered the shareware model back in the 90s and 80s.
Yeah. You know, they're releasing games that pay homage to Doom, Blood, Duke Nukem, what have you. I mean, what you got here is a tribute to Power Slave.
Yeah, but I always like to say Wolfenstein just because of the way it works, like the engine, you know, like you can't, like with Doom you have some kind of verticality, but with Wolfenstein you don't. It's just like blocky rooms and and all that.
That's why we're thinking more towards Power Slave, because it was basically like the upgraded version of Wolfenstein.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Like, you see, like I'm not. Even though I'm doing like an FPS, I wasn't born in that era, so I only play those games afterwards. So that's why I don't have that nostalgic feeling of like, now I have to do the shareware version of the game and release it by chapters and all that. Right. No, I just wanted to. I want to make what I know and what I like, and don't follow any rules from before. And I think that's also like what makes the game a bit more unique, I think. But yeah. That's one of the things that I didn't play those games at the time. Like, I'm not that old. You know, it's called Boomer Shooter, but I'm not from that time.
Well, they're called Boomer Shooters not just because of the generation. No, they weren't
boomers, but yeah.
Technically speaking, the generation is Gen X, but it's also because they involve a lot of firepower. You know, a lot of boomsticks. And the like.
Shotgun, also known as the boomstick, was your best friend.
Boomstick.
So, like once again, you've got something here that would be put in that crowd just because there is a lot of Wolfenstein here, but it's not Wolfenstein necessarily. In terms of its overall makeup.
Yep. Okay.
That being said, from the video footage here, I've been noticing a lot of, blue corridors. I'm wondering how you cut down on monotony, because that was a thing with Wolfenstein, and some of its direct successors. They could get fairly monotonous in their level design, and I'm wondering, what do you do to make sure, people don't get lost in very samey looking corridors?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's something I struggled a lot during development, because I was just like, because I build the levels top down, so it's like building like a maze from just drawing from the top down view. You can also see like the map. There's a map you can use at all times that you can see the square rooms, the box-shaped rooms from the top. But the problem with that is that I first got the aesthetic with like the red aliens. Red is like something that you should notice, and then blue is like walls and all that get faded into your eyesight. But the thing is to keep it interesting, it was kind of hard that way. So that's why I ended up adding a map so people won't get lost. But I think I kind of solved that just by having the biomes. Like when you visit different biomes, each one has their kind of tone to it. You see like there's a blue corridor one, there's a red one that's supposed to be like the machinery and the hot machinery. The laboratories are more sterile and like white walls. And then there's one where you can see the stars and all that. So yeah, all these biomes try to look a little different from each other, and even the enemies are different. So since you are not playing like level to level, you can go to any room you want at any time. So it kind of breaks the thing. Like you don't have to play the whole first floor in just one segment. You have to play the first floor, and then you have to go to the other floor, and then go back to the first floor after that, after you unlock something. So I think it breaks the monotony a bit with that, and even more because there's like a lot of interactable things. So it's not just shooting. You can like use zip lines, destroy boxes, and all that. And each level has their own kind of interactable thing. Like you can sleep in oil in the engines room. You have to like push targets that the military uses in the engines rooms, the military rooms, and all that. So there's a lot of different things that make in each floor that you are, you can do like different things, and you can interact with the game in different ways. So I think that also breaks the bit of the monotony. You're not always doing the same thing, not shooting the same enemies, not interacting with the environment in the same way. Yeah, so I think that's one of the tricks I used to do that.
It's a very Metroidvania way of combating staleness. Like, a lot of the platform games will do it that way. Different areas, different enemies.
Yeah.
So before I continue, Galix, is there anything you want to ask before you depart? Guess not.
He's muted?
Yeah, I was muted. Sorry.
Yeah.
This does look interesting, but I can't think of anything specific to ask. Sorry.
All right.
But yes, I do have to head out.
All right.
It's nice to speak with you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. You too.
Anyway, so shifting gears a bit, what sort of upgrades do you get in order to progress? Like, what's the powers that overcome the obstacles?
Well, there were a lot of restrictions when I started designing this game that were like, I don't want to have like the staples of the FPS genre, the retro FPS genre. I want to like not innovate, but like try to build from the zero instead of just thinking, okay, if it's a retro first-person shooter, it needs to have this and that and that. Like, for instance, ammunition. There's no ammunition in this game. I like to think that you're like playing a Mega Man in 3D. Like you can shoot at all times and slide and all that. There's no ammunition. You can also aim up and down, so there's no headshots. There's no weapon cycling. You can change weapons. You only have one weapon, but it gets abilities over time that you can use with the same controls you're using. So there's a demo online on Steam that you can play right now, which shows like the first ability of the game that you get, which is the charge gun. So at first it's only starts with like shooting like small bullets repeatedly, like a quick gun, and then you get this charge that allows you to like kill enemies in one hit, but it takes 3 seconds to charge. So it kind of adds like a depthness to the combat also, where you have to wait and avoid bullets, and then when you have the charge ready, you can attack. And the upgrades are always something like that, something that it's not just giving you more power, not just like, oh, now you can kill all these guys in one hit. No, that's not just that. It's just they try to like add another layer of depth to the game itself. I can even say that like the second upgrade is like a shockwave. So instead of being an offensive ability, it's a defensive one, where you can, like, if you're getting attacked by a lot of bullets at the same time from enemies shooting at you, it works like as a parry. You can activate the shockwave that parries all the bullets that are coming at you. And then these abilities also can get used to like stun enemies. The shockwave also stuns enemies, and also is used to progress in the levels in a puzzle kind of way in one of the levels. So all these abilities They're not much because I don't have enough keys in a gamepad to add them. But they dramatically really change the game in different ways, and don't just give you like one use. You generally like it's not just a key. In some Metroidvanias, there's kind of this problem that I've seen, that you get this ability, but it only gets used like once or twice to a specific door or something. And I tried to make this like, so you get an ability and you can use it in combat and in unlocking doors, and it even has a third function or something, like you can use it somewhere, or even if it's not usable, like the shockwave, you can even like stun corpses and they'll shake and all that. They even add a little bit of interaction, so every ability you get like expands the game a lot.
Yeah, this is also like usually when we have multifunctional, let's say, upgrade powers in a Metroidvania, they tend to be movement focused. You know, like you get a double jump or a speed boost, or something of that nature. So to have everything centered around the weaponry is different and intriguing.
Yeah, that's been a challenge.
I was
because it's not also offense,
so I can get that on screen momentarily.
Okay.
Okay, nice. But yeah, like I can do double jump here because there's no jumping. That's a staple of Metroidvanias, right?
Yeah. Like usually because Metroid, Castlevania, they're ostensibly platformers, so of course they involve a lot of jumping.
Alrighty.
And in both of those, various movement options are an important part of their upgrade sets.
Yep.
Like, but yeah, like the path that you've chosen does, makes sense because you've got a game where you can't even jump, so it's also moving fairly fast. So what do you upgrade?
Yeah, that's true. That was the thought behind it. But there's actually like an ability that gives you a movement option, but I don't think I'll disclose it right now. I want to keep it a secret. But it also uses the gun. It also uses the gun for movement.
Rocket jumps.
Oh. I think it's one of the footage I send you. Like there's a boss fight. Like every boss fight that appears in the game, kind of needs you to use the last ability that you unlocked. And it shows in one of them, which is like the giant eye that shoots a laser at you.
Oh, the core eye traps you. That one.
Yeah. And then you have to use your gun to go around the eye in a way.
So what's the story here? Who are you? Why are you going through this space station? Who are you blasting? Kind of deal.
Yeah, well, that's for the player to find out. But the core of the story is like, you are someone that woke up in a spaceship, and you see all these dead people everywhere, and you find these aliens just all over the ship, and you're trying to make a sense out of it, killing the aliens and all that. They're shooting at you, so you shoot back. But the lore itself, like, it's not something really detailed. I just added like some lore that you can unlock by finding secrets. So there's these CDs around these items that are CDs around the spaceship that you find like in breakable walls or in some places of the ship that you have to find, like dark corners or something like that. So that it gives an incentive to the players to explore, and players that are interested in seeing the lore, they really need to explore the ship and find these secret items that once you unlock them, the CDs, you can go back to a checkpoint and read the lore that goes with it. Like, so like there's like a piece of text that goes with every item you find. And by the end of the game, if you complete them all, you can read them all in a sequence. So the lore itself is really optional. Like you can play the game without reading a single line of text if you want. If you just want, if you're just there for the action. But if you want to know more about the game, you can you really have to go deep and find all the items and read them at the checkpoints. So yeah, the story is basically that, and you'll find out what happened. Why is the ship? Why did it crash? Why are the aliens there? Who are the people that you are helping? And yeah, it's basically that. You just follow these items, and they are scattered in the world in a way that you find them in an order that is not exactly the order you read them. So it kind of goes there's missing information everywhere. So once you get all of them, you'll pretty much be able to figure out the whole thing. Yeah, there are some optional ones that don't influence the story, but some of them are detailing the enemies, these enemies like this and that, and these enemies like that, and there's some backstory to the bosses and all that. But there's some special CDs that give you the whole thing, that what happened in chronological order.
Okay. Yeah. Once again, that makes sense for how things are aligned here. Once again, this is a very high octane, fast paced sort of game, though. That's probably the elements that's most in line, ironically, with actual boomer shooters. Having to look through every nook and cranny for hidden walls, for goodies. So usually in that case, it's extra ammo, better weaponry, what have you, and but lore.
Yeah, but here there are power-ups. Yeah, there are power-ups that are also hidden. There's an helmet and a jetpack, things that really improve the gameplay and make the gameplay easier when you get those. But there's nothing there's no ammo, so there's no ammo, no weapons, because you can't get any new weapons. But so pretty much the exploration is kind of also very optional in a way. You're not forced to look around. Except for keys that you need to
is there
open
no
doors
vertical? Is there no vertical looking, just horizontal?
Yep.
All right.
That's it.
Just wanted to make sure my mouse wasn't messed up.
Yeah. So I really tried to make the combat interesting with that. With Wolfenstein, it's pretty much you're just trying to manage your ammo and try to hide in corners and all that. I tried to make this combat a bit more clean in a way, that there's no what do you call it in boomer shooters, when you shoot and you don't see the bullet, but it kind of hits that area,
hit scans.
It scans, yeah, like that. So I tried to take care of clean all of that and make everything visible to you, so you see exactly where your bullet is. You see exactly where the explosion happens. There's
so everything is a projectile.
Yeah, everything is a projectile. So you can with the sliding mechanic, you can pretty much avoid everything, and you can see everything. So it becomes very strategical. The movement becomes very strategical, and you kind of dance around with the enemies and not just try to kill them before they do. Right? If you are good at avoiding bullets, you can pretty much stay in front of an enemy of a long time.
Right. The trick is to get good at bullet dodging.
Yeah.
Again, that is something that's a mite different from actual boomer shooters. Even the ones today, will usually have some hit scan weapon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I try to. Yeah, that's why I try to what do I like about shooters and what I don't like? So I try to make one that features things that I like.
I mean, I suppose
nothing wrong with those, but yeah.
I mean, I suppose that is one of the perks of being the pretty much the sole creative force on a project. It's like whatever you want to do, it goes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's why I like making games.
So, what is the state of the game right now? How far along is it in terms of completion?
All right, yeah, that's also one of the problems with being a solo dev is that everything takes longer than you think it's going to take.
If we had $1 every time somebody said that.
Be able to
it's not just roses. Yeah,
not the moon. Roses, you're thinking small, buddy.
I know. I'm talking like the moons of Saturn.
Oh, nice. You're going interstellar.
Well, it's like I think the one thing we've never heard on this program is making this took less time.
I wish this took longer. Are you okay?
Yeah.
I think that's the dev I need help statement.
Yeah.
Probably.
If that happens, it needs to be studied. Yeah.
they need a medic immediately.
Anyway,
probably the National Guard. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, getting back to the question, how much more development work does the game need?
Yeah, well, luckily the game has finished development last year, at the end of last year. But there's always a bit of tweaks and all that I've been implementing, especially because I've been working with my publisher, PM Studios, which found the game in its earlier phases and helped funding and all that, which I was very lucky to have that, which is one advice I give to all the indie devs, which is just share your game when you have something that people can look at and feel. So I was sharing on Twitter and they found me, so they funded the game, and they gave me the opportunity to publish the game on consoles. So there's a lot of work involved, with the porting part. I'm not doing the porting itself, but they always find some kind of bug that in consoles that is happening and all that, and they have to come to me to check was this intended? Is this something okay? You're okay with that? And
right.
So there's that work of talking with them and being sure this can't happen. We have to fix this, and I have to find a way to fix that, because they also don't want to go too deep in the code, because there's a lot of code and they're seeing it for the first time, and I have to help them with that. But yeah, this year is pretty much like that. Just been waiting for the release and trying to get the console ports ready, so they all release at the same time on July. I didn't want console players to be able to play it after the PC players, so that's why we delayed everything to be in the same day. It's pretty much done. So I'm just doing marketing.
Ready. You're just waiting for the ports.
Yes, that's it.
All right.
It's not ready yet because I still have to add Steam achievements and all that.
We had some people do it backwards, where they were getting ready for console and then porting to PC later.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
It really depends what your development priorities are.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. In my case, it's kind of hard because it's I have the map for the Metroidvania involved needs to be completed before giving it to the porting studio. So it's kind of I have to finish the game first, and then I have to give them, because they can't add my code after that. Once they have the build ready for consoles.
I suppose that does beg the question: who is bringing this game to consoles?
Oh, so the porting studio itself?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Jansoft. I don't know if it's known.
I don't think we're familiar with them.
It's like a Spanish studio that specializes in Game Maker porting. So the game was made in Game Maker, so we had the upper hand on that.
What consoles is Exophobia coming to?
It's coming to all the major ones: Switch, Xbox, and PS4 and 5. Yep. It even has a physical edition on PlayStation 4 and 5, and on Switch.
Limited run?
No, it's from my publisher itself, PM Studios, which also publishes physical games. Yeah. So it's pretty nice, like to have like my first game as a physical version. It's something that I would never guess I would have.
Indeed. Yeah, not every publisher does that. Right.
Yeah, because it's a really strong investment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially with a game developer that it's his first game, first commercial one.
Indeed. And what's the price point?
For the game on PC, it's going to be pretty much like $15. I think we're not decided on it, but yeah, I don't think it's going to be much more than that. So I think it's a standard. Yeah,
$15 would be pretty standard for a game like this. Like, it sounds like console might be a bit more.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm not sure. Like, there are a lot of examples with FPSs that they're all over the place.
Yeah,
it really depends.
It really depends on the deal
like,
the publisher has with the console maker.
Okay.
Some publishers have to deal with the console licensing fees, which makes it more. Some don't. It really depends.
It also depends.
Some publishers will just eat that cost, get your game on console. It really just depends.
Yeah.
Yep.
It also depends on if the publisher has a marketing deal with the console maker. Like sometimes Microsoft or Sony or Nintendo will use a indie game to push something. So
yeah.
It's all a series of variances. Like,
yeah, I'm learning a lot.
Anyway, so the game is close to release. So how are you feeling about that after 4 years of development work?
Yeah, I don't even know. Like, I came up with this idea in 2015, so it's just like it kind of feels like part of my life now, in a way. So maybe, like, I just feel relief, like, to be able to put it out there and have people play it. Yeah, I'm not really like interested now in see if it sells or not. Like, I don't really care. I just feel proud of just having made this and going to the end with it. And yeah, I hope it gave me enough lessons to make a smoother release next time for the next game. And I'm just pretty much like excited to see how it goes and what I can work on next.
I suppose, speaking of such things, it may be a bit early to ask this, but it bears asking nonetheless. Do you have an idea for your next project?
Yeah, I do actually. Like, lots of ideas. Ideas are like there are a lot. Like, the time is just short to make everything.
Move.
Yeah. Oh no, it's gone. Yeah, but basically it's pretty much not the problem right now is not to find the next idea, is to find like what's the best idea to work next. It's like, given like I learned a lot of marketing stuff and biz dev stuff with this game, like I had no idea, so I was like learning on the go. It's still being recorded, right?
We should be.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, did something happen to the Twitch stream?
No.
Okay, nice. Oh yeah, so like as I was saying, like I learned a lot of marketing and biz dev on the fly with this project. Like, I was like learning on the go. Like, I'd never talked with publishers before this. I had never marketed a game commercially like this before. And now that I learned a lot of stuff like that, like I understand that if I want to make a game commercially viable, it has to start with the idea you pursue, right? So it's not just the effort you put into something. It's like you really have to find this something that will that not just sell, but like that will call the attention of players. That will, it has to be like a Venn diagram of something like that you want to do, something that will sell, and something that you'll be proud of. all of that stuff, like there's like a specific project and it's really hard to find that. So I'm just pretty much just making prototypes and see if it's something I want to pursue or not. But yeah, the one thing I can say is that it's not going to be a 3D game. I'm not going to do that again. So it's going to be something more simple, and just that tries to in the same vein as Ectophobia, like something actiony, something addictive. I don't know. Like I'm not a player of like cozy games or relaxed games. I'm something more of an action game player. So something in that vein, yeah.
So something in the vein of run and gun, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, speaking of that, like my dreaming game is something like a beat 'em up. Like there have been so many coming up right now, but it's like it was something that you didn't see some years before, but now you see like the beat 'em ups of Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers and stuff like that. Yeah.
Both the old ones coming back and new ones coming to fruition.
Yeah.
And Streets of Rage also, yeah. But yeah, that's a genre that I really wanted to try for. It's like my dream genre, but I know it's not an easy game to make, like there's it takes a lot of assets, a lot of art and all that, so maybe in the future.
Once again, that's any game though at this level.
Yeah.
Like it's just doing a beat 'em up has a different subset of things that make it fun versus an FPS. Though like with a beat 'em up, it's going to be repetitive, but the key there is making sure the game is still fun throughout the entire experience.
Yeah. But if I were to make a beat 'em up, like I would apply the same design philosophy as Exophobia, Like don't make the game what you think it's supposed to be, but start building from the zero. Like, okay, it's a beat 'em up, but how do you progress? Do you progress like level by level, or is there something else? Like is it a roguelike? Is it a Metroidvania? And try to get that uniqueness out of it, like in that way, yeah. So and kind of solve that problem that was like, in the arcades you saw that a lot, but in the arcades you could lose and you had to put more money in it, and that's why it is level based, But now we have a different kind of audience, and game developers need to adapt their games to that.
Yep. Anyway, so I think I've exhausted my spate of questions. Petty Fan, do you have anything further for our guest?
I guess the only other question I'd have is, will your save from the demo, will that carry over to the full game, or will you be starting over in the full game?
Oh, no, you have to start over, sorry. Because there have been so many changes in there.
Yeah, it's something to ask just in case, because it kind of changes how people look at it, because if you can carry your save over, you'd be more likely to go all the way through the demo.
If
you have to start over anyway, it's more like dip your toe in, see if you're interested.
Yeah, and that's something like that I regret with this demo, because it's such a slow start for the game, like it becomes so much more interesting down the road.
Interesting, yeah.
And but that's something for like developers that know what they're doing, like having the save file carry over. Not for me.
Yeah.
But I would love to have that, of course. But I didn't plan it that far ahead. There's so many changes, and the save system doesn't work like that. And yeah, but I understand what you're saying. Like, yeah, if I was a player, like, yeah, I don't want to finish this. Like, why would I spend half an hour trying to beat
it's
this?
Like an hour,
I have to redo it again.
Or two putting into this just to have to play it over again. Like, yeah, it'll be probably different, but I can understand people wanting, But yeah, just something to keep note of. It's like to dip your toes in the demo, but you don't need to worry about finishing it because you're going to be starting over anyway.
Yep. Yeah, like I would say to players, like if you want to get a feel of the game, you can play like the first 10 minutes or something. But if you want to see what the game has to offer, you can just look for footage on YouTube or something like that. I haven't really posted much stuff from the later game, just on Twitter, like small clips of boss fights later in the game that give you like a sense of what the game becomes after like a while, like when you're just not starting, like killing an enemy or two, and now you have like a full arena full of enemies, which is like, it gives you another sense of power. So yeah, that's my advice. If you want to try the controls for yourself and see if you stick with it, that's cool. But if you don't want to keep at it, well, at least wishlist it, and then go see some footage.
Is this a Next Fest?
Sorry?
Like limited time demo thing, or is this just going to stay on Steam even after
the game is released? This one has been open for a long while now. So yeah, it's a demo from like last year, I think. So it's going to be open, I think, maybe until the day of release. I'm still not sure what I'm going to do, but I think it's best practice is to remove the demo before release. I don't know why, but I would love to have people have try it, but I think it's been proven that games don't get bought as much as if they have a demo there or not. So. And it doesn't make sense if it's sold and you can carry the save. So I'll probably remove it a week or something before the release.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but you can play it till then.
I think that's everything I have to ask.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. So yeah, Jose, I want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule and being with us here today. I got to say, Exophobia wasn't the game that I was expecting at the start of this interview, which is, one reason why we do these things. So, I look forward to the game's release. And if you want us to review it, just send us a copy.
Thank you. Anyway. Yeah, we'll do. Of course. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
No problem.
It was a really nice conversation. It's always nice to talk about the game like this.
Indeed. The game is Exophobia. There is a demo on Steam right now. Its planned release date is July 23rd, in about a month from now.
Yep.
Price is looking to be about $14.99. So be sure to go and wishlist it today.
Thank you. Yeah, that's it. Wishlist the game, and thank you. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. I'm on Twitter also by. If you find Zark Attack, you can find all tweets about the game and stuff like that. So if you want to see new stuff, I'm also posting there like enemies and combat and stuff like that. Small clips from the later parts of the game. So if you want to check it out, yeah.
All right. That'll about do it for this installment of Fragments of Silicon. Be sure to tune in next time for our Sunday reviews. And until then, I shall wish you good gaming.
Almost.